Hey everyone, my name is Erica Alicea from CM City Living, and I'm super excited that Corner of Joys invited me to be part of their Living Library tour. And though we have books all over our home, bookshelves and piles of books, this bookshelf behind me in particular is super special to me because it is the one that my husband built for me by hand when I went overboard buying living books for our homeschool and ran out of space. And so I just wanted to showcase his beautiful work for me. Thanks, babe. So it was a little difficult to narrow down some of my favorite books to share with you today. So I thought to myself, let me be strategic and choose 3 books. I figured a chapter book, a picture book, and a folktale book for the younger children. So the first one I'd like to share with you is, I said the bookshelf was dear to my heart. Oh, this book is so dear to my heart too. It is called The Color of My Words by Lynn Joseph. And it is a beautiful story that takes place in the Dominican Republic about a little girl a 12-year-old girl who loves to write. But she's writing during a time of dictatorship where writing was banned and no one was allowed a voice. And so she was able to find her voice without giving you too much. It's written in such a beautiful, poetic way. Every chapter starts with a poem, and the imagery that Lynn Joseph uses, it's just so lovely. My daughter fell in love with it. And I have to tell you, I was an elementary school teacher for many years, and I recently posted about this, that we're reading it in Spanish, and 2 of my former students who are now adults, pushing 30 years old, one of them is a mom already, and they told me that it was their favorite book ever, that they remember it like it was yesterday. And one of the students who is a mom said that she bought it for her daughter. Oh, and that's what a living book does. So I do want to warn you that it's a tearjerker. Someone passes away who's very dear to the main character. And there's also a part where a character finds out that the father who raised them is not their biological father. So, just in case, every family is a little different with their standards, but to me, the beauty of this book just outshines anything else. So that's my first one. My second recommendation that I'd like to share with you is called Tales Alive. It is a collection of 10 multicultural folk tales from different parts of the world. And in the beginning, it tells you, each story, it tells you what country it's from. So for example, the gentle people from Argentina, a drum from India. And the pictures and the illustrations are just absolutely gorgeous. So the stories are very interesting, entertaining. The pictures are gorgeous. And for those of you with creative children like my child, the kind of kids who are just bursting with energy and with creativity, and you have to keep them busy. Yeah. Well, this book comes with activities to do after you read the story. I mean, you don't have to do them at all. You don't even have to do all of them, but there were some really cute activities that have to do with the story and with the country that it comes from. So this was a really cool find for me because it's a treasure. It's definitely a treasure. And the last book that I want to share with you is a modern book. It came out very recently, and it was illustrated by one of my favorite illustrators, Eric Velasquez, who illustrated one of my other favorite books that I share on my blog called Grandma's Records. But this one is titled Schomburg, The Man Who Built a Library by Carol Boston Weatherford. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Arturo Schomburg, he was a brilliant man, born in Puerto Rico, came to New York in his early years, and he was of African descent. And his quest was to find as many books that told the African story, the stories that were written and lost over the years had been neglected, whatever the case. And that's what he did. He collected story after story after story. And he got information on so many different influential leaders and writers, such as Phyllis Wheatley or Frederick Douglass. And I just wanted to read one little part where he says, or it says about him, "Where is our historian to give us our side?" Arturo asked, "to teach our people our own history." Even in the late 1800s, he was a historian as a young boy. He wanted to know the truth about his heritage. And so he collected so much information, so many books, that he ended up, it just overflowed, and he reached out to the library, and he ended up basically, there is the Schomburg Library in Manhattan, near 125th. I went there once. I'm from the Bronx. We go to the libraries here in the Bronx. But I did have to go when I was in college pledging my sorority. And I had to go there because the information that I needed to look up was only found at the Schomburg Library. So I can go on and on about his life. But one other cool thing about this book is, or not about his book, but in particular about his life, is that he even, in his quest, he even uncovered certain truths about people that was not known to others. So for example, how Audubon had African ancestry, and obviously Dumas, and even Beethoven. So these were the things that weren't common knowledge, and he shared it so that people could have pride with of their own history that was denied for so long. So those are my 3 books to share with you. I actually have an ongoing list of multicultural history books on my website, Charlotte Mason City Living. If you go to my Instagram, you'll see my link in the bio. And I've also included, just for you, a little link with these 3 books in my bio. So it could be an easy find if anyone's interested. But I just want to thank, again, Corner of Joys. Thank you for having me. And I hope that you've enjoyed a little bit of time spent within my living library.